Hi, my name's Colin McMahon. 9 years ago, I fulfilled a lifelong dream and opened my comic book store, Pittsburgh Comics. Since then, it's been great. I've met lots of great people, I've read lots of great books, and I want to share that with you. Welcome to Comics Now. Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for August 2016. We're finishing up the summer, we're getting the last of the movies are starting to come out, so everything's kind of wrapping up, leading to a big fall. So right now, Suicide Squad is hitting this week. So lots of excitement about that. It's a big DC movie that's getting a lot of buzz. So I figured we'd start off with DC to talk about what's coming out in August. And of course, we'll start with Suicide Squad Rebirth. This is from Rob Williams and Jim Lee and Friends. Jim Lee was originally going to draw it. Now it's he's drawn a little bit of it. But it looks like they have a lot of big names are going to be helping him out with the art chores on this. And basically, the story of Suicide Squad is soldier, war hero, traitor. Captain Rick Flag was one of America's greatest military commanders before he was banished to a secret military prison. But after years of isolation, Flag's life changes forever when a woman called Amanda Waller offers him redemption in exchange for taking on the single most dangerous job in the entire DC universe, keeping the Suicide Squad alive. So, I think that's going to be a little bit of the story of the movie, and while the comic isn't always going to be exactly like the movie, I think it's going to have a little bit of the feel of it. So I think this is a big one for this month. And then we also have another huge book. I'm seeing this one just being crazy, is All-Star Batman #1. Scott Snyder back on Batman. He's off the regular title, and they're letting him do basically whatever he wants with this one. And it's him and some of his hand-picked favorite artists are going to be doing a Batman book. And it's basically Batman featuring the villains. So this first story arc is with John Romita Jr., and it's reimagining some of the Dark Knight's greatest villains. First up is Two-Face. Batman must take Two-Face to a destination out of Gotham City, but the duplicitous villain has a two of spades up his sleeve. So this one, it's an ongoing, it's going to be different story arcs with different real high-profile artists. They have Jock, they have Sean Gordon Murphy, I believe even Tula Lote, who you might not know, but you've seen her covers, is going to be doing some. So this one is shaping up to be a really, really big, exciting book. Blue Beetle Rebirth is another one of the new ones coming. This is from Keith Giffen and Scott Collins. It's Jaime Reyes is lost in the desert and with no knowledge and memory of who he is, but people are coming after him trying to get his scarab. And also Cord Industries, Ted Cord was the original Blue Beetle, is also out there trying to help him. Batgirls and the Birds of Prey. There's a new Oracle who used to be Batgirl when she was in the wheelchair. And now she's out of the wheelchair, but someone else is being Oracle, and they have to team together to find out. And it's going to be Batgirl and Black Canary and Huntress. And the problem is they need to find out who Oracle is and what she knows, and Huntress is a little more menacing and pretty much just wants to put an arrow through her head. So they have to find her and keep Huntress from killing her. Deathstroke Rebirth. Deathstroke's coming back with a new book by Christopher Priest. Christopher Priest long ago did a lot of really good books. His main thing was a big run on Black Panther that is very well received, that they're thinking the Black Panther movie is going to be based on. So it was nice to see him. He's been out of comics for a long time, and they've got him back doing the Deathstroke book. Harley Quinn is back with a new #1. Not a whole lot has changed. It's still Harley. Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner are still writing it, with Chad Hardin drawing it. Welcome back to Harley Quinn's Crazy World on Coney Island. Now get ready to wave goodbye because everyone there just might get eaten alive. Harley's got to protect her neighborhood against an all-out zombie apocalypse. Break out the chainsaws, everybody. Hellblazer. Now this is a favorite of mine. It's one of the few books that I do have a complete run of. A book I've enjoyed for a long, long time. And it got a little off during New 52. They tried to make him younger. They brought him to America. They tried to make it a little bit more like the TV show because that took place in America. And nothing ever really quite worked. It wasn't horrible, but it was never great. And seeing the first issue of this, it's back to being the great Hellblazer, the stories that we want. Red Hood and the Outlaws. This is a neat one. It's called the Dark Trinity because Red Hood is was Robin, Jason Todd, and now he's the Red Hood, and he gets a group together, and it's him as the Batman character. You have Bizarro as the Superman character, and Artemis, who's another Amazonian, is being the Wonder Woman character. So they're all kind of villains making this team-up book. Supergirl Rebirth. This is back with a new #1. We haven't had a Supergirl book for a while, and based on the success of the TV show, it looks like they're going that direction a little bit. Superwoman is a new book coming out. Superwoman is Lois Lane, who has suddenly gotten powers. And this one's written and drawn by Phil Jimenez, who's just fantastic. So Lois Lane takes flight. Now powered up with the abilities of Superman, Lois pledges to carry on the super legacy as Superwoman. There's only one problem. Lois's new powers are killing her, and neither she nor her friend and confidant, Lana Lang, know what to do about it. A couple oddball ones. This one's called Six Pack and Dog Welder, Hard Traveling Heroes. And it's basically a spoof on the old Green Lantern, Green Arrow buddy movie where they went, or buddy series where they went across the country righting wrongs. And so in the tradition of the original Hard Traveling Heroes, Six Pack and Dog Welder are ready to bring their allegedly social-aware brand of justice to the lands beyond Gotham City. Suicide Squad, Most Wanted, El Diablo, and Boomerang #1. We just had one, it was Katana and Deathstroke, and it's just kind of focusing on the different members of the Suicide Squad. So, if you don't know who they are, especially if you like the movie, these look like two of the big ones in the movie. El Diablo is the guy with the skull tattoos that can create fire, and Boomerang just looks like a absolutely crazy Australian character. People are saying he might be the breakout hit of the movie, so we'll see where that goes. Marvel. Now, Marvel right now is in the middle of Civil War II. We just had a big death of a major character 2 issues ago at the beginning of July. And all the books, most of their books are now tying in. So they don't have a whole lot of new stuff coming out because most of their books are tying in. October is when we're going to be crazy with new books coming from Marvel. But right now things are just kind of still moving in the direction of Civil War. They do have a couple books tying into Civil War that are going to be new. There's Fallen #1. It deals with the aftermath of the character's death in Civil War issue 3. And then Accused, and it's the trial of the person who caused the character's death. So I don't want to give any spoilers, but that's what's going on. There's also Civil War Ulysses #1. Ulysses is the Marvel character, the new Inhuman, who is the cause of Civil War. He can see the future, and basically they're taking action to prevent that future from happening. And this is going to give us a little more of his background and insight into him. So that one's coming. I don't know about this one. I'm far too old, apparently. But Marvel Tsum Tsum, which is basically these little small toys, and they're doing a Marvel series based on the characters as these little small toys. So people are telling me it's going to be big. That one I don't know. I just don't know this stuff. Dark Horse. We have a new one, a couple new books. First one's from Brian Wood, who's done tons of stuff. DMZ, most recently Rebels, Massive. He's doing one called Briggs Land. Briggs Land, nearly 100 square miles of rural wilderness, contains the largest anti-government secessionist movement in the United States. When matriarch Gace Briggs wrests control of the operation from her incarcerated husband, she sparks a war within the community and her immediate family that threatens to bring the full power of the federal government down on their heads. So a little bit of the militia stuff, just with Brian Wood. He's had really good luck with stuff like this. He likes the historical stuff. He likes the anti-establishment stuff. Kingsway West. This is from Greg Pak, who's a really nice guy that I've met a couple times at different conventions. After spending 13 years in a war that made him a monster, a Chinese gunslinger named Kingsway Law wants to live in peace with his wife Sonia. But even a fantastical Old West crackling with magic, a man of his skills can never quite disappear. Lady Killer, Volume 2. The first one did unbelievably. I never actually had a chance to read it because I could never keep #1 on the shelf long enough. This is by Joelle Jones. Just basically, it's set in the 50s, and it's a housewife who is also a killer. So basically, the killer housewife is back. The Schuler family has moved to Cocoa Beach, Florida, where life carries on as usual. Josie continues to juggle Tupperware parties, her kids, and a few human heads. However, when someone from her past tails her on a hit, she may be in for more than she bargained for. Witchfinder, there's a new Witchfinder series. This is Mike Mignola of Hellboy fame. City of the Dead series is coming out. And World of Tanks, Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis loves nothing more than World War II stories. He loves his war stories, which he's doing right now at Avatar, that he did previously at Vertigo. He did a Battlefield series at Dynamite, and now this one at Dark Horse. It's basically Garth Ennis and Carlos Esquera. Carlos Esquera did a little bit of Preacher with him. I think he did one of the miniseries. He also did some other stuff with him. And just basically, it's a story of an untested British crew inadvertently commands an unconventional Cromwell tank into France while hunted by a hardened German panzer unit. Basically, just if you like the Garth Ennis war books, this will be right up your alley. Image Comics has a couple new ones as well. There's a new one from Jonathan Hickman called The Black Monday Murders. All Hail God Money, a new crypto noir series about the power of dirty, filthy money and exactly what kind of people you can buy with it. So Hickman definitely likes the big picture books, and I'm sure this one will be interesting and fun. Kill or Be Killed. This is a new one from Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. They tend to do these 10, 12 issue runs. They just finished up Fade Out, which was set in the 1940s. And this is back, it's a twisted story of a young man who's forced to kill bad people and how he struggles to keep his secret as it slowly ruins his life and the lives of his friends and loved ones. Demonic #1. Detective Scott Graves will do anything to protect his family, even a bargain away his soul. Now the only thing to fear isn't New York's worst criminals, but what's already raging inside of him. After all, what's the cost of your soul when it's already damaged? Eden's Fall #1, another new #1. This is from Top Cow, part of Image. And this is combining some of their books, Think Tank, The Tithe, and Postal, and bringing some of those characters together, where an FBI agent from The Tithe makes his way to the town that is the setting for Postal, which is basically kind of a bad guy witness protection program where all the bad guys live. So that could be interesting. And Lake of Fire by Nathan Fairbairn. It's 1220 AD and the gears of the crusade grind on when an alien spacecraft infested with a horde of bloodthirsty predators crash lands in a remote wilderness of the French Pyrenees. A small band of crusaders and a Cathar heretic are all that stand between God's kingdom and hell on earth. A couple new ones from IDW as well. There's a new Atomic Robo book, The Temple of Odd. Jackboot and Iron Heel #1. Eddie Neal has had his future plan, shooting balls into the net for West Ham United. But thanks to World War II, he's now shooting Nazis as an RAF tail gunner. Shot down, he finds himself captive in Castle Luftzig, where he'll face his biggest opposition yet, his own destiny. This one should be big. Jim Thompson's The Killer Inside Me. It's taking this crime novel that Jim Thompson wrote. Lou Ford is the deputy sheriff of a small town in Texas. The worst thing most people can say about him is that he's a little slow and a little boring. But then most people don't know about the sickness. The sickness that almost got Lou put away when he was younger. The sickness is about to surface again. There's a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe is coming. X-Files is getting an origin #1. And before the FBI, before the X-Files, they were just two teenagers in search of the truth. On Martha's Vineyard, a young Fox Mulder investigates something strange happening on the island, while in San Diego, 13-year-old Dana Scully looks into the shocking murder of her teacher. Two kids, two mysteries, one conspiracy that threatens the future of humanity. These are all so dramatic. And then there's a new Godzilla book coming from IDW, Rage Across Time, puts Godzilla in feudal Japan, because why not? Boom Studios has some new ones. From James Tynion, who's doing detective comics right now, is The Backstagers. It's an incredible yet earnest story about finding a place to fit in when you're kind of an outcast. When Jory transfers to the private all-boys school, St. Genesis, he figures joining the stage crew would involve a lot of just fetching props and getting splinters. To his pleasant surprise, he discovers there's a door backstage that leads to different worlds, and all of the stagehands know about it. All the world's a stage. What happens behind the curtain is pure magic. So a little fun, definitely different from the detective and the superhero genre, but he also is doing The Woods that I think is either just wrapped up or is just about to wrap up, and that was another high school story. Sons of Anarchy is getting a new series as well. Nice thing is it's written by one of the showrunners, so there's definitely continuity there if you like the show, which my wife has just found, and this might be something that you'll enjoy since the main series has ended. Dynamite has a couple new ones. There's Evil Ernie, God Eater. This is from Justin Jordan, who's actually local here. Well, kind of local. He's out Mechanicsburg way. And just more Evil Ernie from the Lady Death series back in the 90s. And then there's also a new Battlestar Galactica book coming. This is by Cullen Bunn, who is trying to write every book out there. Basically, the Galactica search for sanctuary takes them beyond the limits of known reality and into a cosmic mystery where the hunters become the hunted, ruined in despair, dot the skies, and Adama goes where friend and family can't follow. So, and then spotlighting a couple different ones. Aftershock is a company I don't talk about much. They've done a couple real neat books. Rough Riders is probably their bestseller right now. And they have another one called Insects, written by Marguerite Bennett, and she's writing this one as well. It's called Animosity. And one day the animals woke up, they started thinking, they started talking, and they started taking revenge. Now a dog and his girl are trying to get away out of New York City and all the way to San Francisco to the only person who might be able to protect and save her. So, just a neat little startup company. Mike Martz is the guy in charge of it. He used to be the Batman editor and then the X-Men editor. And now he's running this company. And then Valiant Comics is doing Generation Zero. This is Fred Van Lente. And years ago, the children from the experimental strike team known as Generation Zero were taken from their families by Project Rising Spirit, a private weapons contractor, and raised to be psychic soldiers. After years of taking orders, they have fought for and won their freedom. Now the world's most wanted teenagers have pledged to protect each other tooth and claw while using their extraordinary abilities to right wrongs for a generation without a future. To fight for kids just like them. So just a new book coming from Valiant. Just a neat thing. They're bringing out a bunch of new #1s. And because of this, because Valiant is wrapping up their 4001 AD storyline in August, I'm going to do double points on all Valiant books. I always like to push them. They do a great job helping us. And we have the lockbox, the time capsule, that we're supposed to open on August 31st. Sadly, I'm going to be in Baltimore for the Diamond Retailer Summit as are most store owners. So we're going to push that back to actually September 2nd, Saturday. We're going to open that probably like at noon. We'll make a real big dramatic opening and seeing exactly what's in there. So that's what we have coming up in August. Stay tuned. We have a great interview with Eleni Romanus. And also, don't forget, stick around for a very special Comics Previews Theater. So we're joined today by Eleni Romanus, who's the author of Greek Goddess, a graphic novel that she is self-published?
Yes.
Self-published. And she's here to talk to us about it. So Eleni,
yeah.
Basically, from what I read, it's a story about the Greek gods basically being reborn on Earth.
Essentially,
so,
yeah, absolutely. Okay. It's about Athena, who's the main character, that lady right there.
Okay.
But yeah, she's this, charmingly awkward band geek who's not your typical heroine whatsoever. Mm-hmm. And it turns out she has the spirit of the ancient Greek goddess Athena inside of her, who's this amazing warrior goddess. And far from what the real Athena is. Okay. And when the god of war comes seeking revenge on the earth, all these, series of events happens, and Diomedes, who's the Greek hero god, comes to find Athena, and he is the one who kind of unleashes the ancient Greek warrior goddess inside of her, because he needs her to help him fight Ares and, destroy the god of war before he destroys the earth. Sort of deal. Yeah. Sure.
And of course, lots of friends and get involved.
Oh yeah, there's
brother.
Her twin brother Apollo plays a huge part in it. He's kind of like the more popular guy in school, so they're kind of polar opposites, but they at the same time they're very close siblings. Okay. Which I love. I have 2 older brothers, so that sibling bond is something I really wanted to have in there. Sure. But yeah, it's a fun story. You get the whole marching band, in the high school and everything, and it's those quirky, awkward moments that happen, but at the same time, it's kind of a coming of age story. Okay. More just, it's a self-empowering story, but it's also just this awesome action story as well that has to do with all the Greek mythology and like what it was back then in a modern time kind of deal. Yeah.
Now, was this your goal to be a comic book writer?
No, to be honest, this just kind of happened.
Okay.
But no, I know we were talking before. I'm an actress.
Okay.
And I wrote the story specifically because I wanted it to be a film, and I to be honest, I wanted to play Athena. She was just a character I had always wanted to play. So I was like, well, why not write
you wrote
one?
yourself as the lead?
Yeah, I know that's kind of conceited, maybe, but yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where why not just do it yourself and make it happen. Okay. So I kind of went that route. Okay. And I've always been a big fan of anime and comic books, the Marvel, DC Comics world and everything. Me and my oldest brother are big fans of. So once I wrote the script, he and I were both reading the script over, and he was like, yeah, I could definitely see this as like an animated movie. And I was like, well, the kind of whole purpose of it is for it to be a live action film.
And me to play those.
Right, exactly. Because the whole point, Athena essentially I would love her to be a role model, you know, because she's not your typical heroine action hero whatsoever. So I was like, it's kind of more effective if it's a real person playing that specific role, whether it's me or anybody else. Kind of deal. So I was like, well, I don't really want to turn the film into an animation. I was like, I do like that idea. So I was like, why don't we go the book route, graphic novel route? So I just kind of, honestly, it was just kind of a split decision. I was like, all right, how do I make this happen? And so I had bought a lot of, different anime and different comic book styles just to see what they all look like, the different formats and stuff. And I just kind of went from there and made it up as I went and, transcribed the script into panels for a comic book style.
How'd you find the artist?
I actually, would you believe it, online.
Okay.
Yeah, I honestly Googled anime artists once I was looking for an illustrator. And I don't know if you're familiar with DeviantArt.
Sure.
It's the gallery where a lot of artists are there. And I had found quite a few artists that I liked, and through their pages, I just browsed their gallery and found their contact information. And being that this is my first time ever doing a book or anything, I emailed them. I was like, hey, I saw your gallery, loved your artwork. I am trying to find somebody to illustrate this graphic novel for me. I didn't know if that's something you do. What are rates? I'm kind of new to the whole thing. And Brian Golden, who illustrated this, who did a fantastic job. I absolutely love his artwork. His gallery was actually my favorite one that I found, and he ended up being the most affordable one, and he was the nicest person. He got back to me very quickly, and we just worked so well together. I was like, this is meant to be, kind of deal. And so, it was pretty hassle-free. I sent him the script, and he, enjoyed it very fortunately. And was like, yeah, I'd love to take it on. And, he would sketch things. I was pretty detailed with each panel and, the cover and everything, but I did give him artistic freedom, of course. And so he would sketch me examples and then, give it to me for approval. And then after that, like, once he had the base characters, I was just like, you know what? I trust you, Go ahead and just do it. And then he's like, of course, if I need to fix anything, we will. But I don't think I ever had to fix anything except for like a couple words here and there. But and so he illustrated it, and then it was complete. And in terms of publishing, I did submit it to a few different publishers, especially in Japan. And it wasn't the fact that I didn't want to publish with any of them. It takes a long time to hear back from any of them. And being that I wanted to get everything going with the film, I wanted to try to get this out as soon as possible. So that's why I decided to go the self-publishing route and found this company called Ingram Spark, which is just another thing I found online, to be honest. But it's a self-published site. They essentially act as the printer. So it's print on demand, but it made it available on Amazon, so it's now available on Amazon everywhere. At Barnes and Noble, which is crazy, and for stores to get. So I was like, that's all I asked for.
That's one of the fun stories out of San Diego, where you see writers and artists finally meeting for the first time, and how much the internet has changed the world.
It's unreal. I know. Poor Brian. I've never met him in person yet.
Yeah, exactly.
I love your work.
I have a customer who did a comic on his own probably like 5 years ago, and he met the artist this year. Which I'm just like, that's so funny.
That's amazing. Yeah, hopefully one day, maybe at a Comic-Con.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, remember me?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh yeah, I remember you.
I know, right? Oh yeah. Like, I hate you. I never want to see you again. But
yeah, you're the one. Oh, okay.
Right, exactly.
I changed a lot of things.
I know, right? Yeah, right. Could you imagine? There's a whole other book out there. Yeah. Not my book at all. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, great. I hope it's really successful for you. It's a fun book, definitely in the anime style.
Yeah.
And just good coming of age story. Well, thanks for joining us today.
No, thank you so much for having me.
And she'll be back for Comic Previews Theater, so stay tuned.
The Suicide Squad is finished. Finished, Director Waller. Period. Frankly, I would have made this decision a lot sooner, but it wasn't until I was already in my second term that I was even made aware of your program, which is exactly the way you liked it, I'm sure. Task Force X. A squad of costume felons, thieves, killers, and worse, operating on behalf of American interests around the world, afforded no due process, no civil rights, and answerable only to a woman whom no one elected, whom I do not appoint, whom no one in Congress even knows about. I don't know how this whole thing got started, Director Waller, but the Suicide Squad is not only a betrayal of our ideals, it's manifestly a bomb waiting to blow up in our faces. I swore an oath to defend the country. We do not do this. Not here.
With respect, Mr. President, that is a lie.
I beg your pardon.
Ideals belong on flagpoles and in museums and in the movie theaters. This is reality, and reality is ugly. For our loved ones to sleep safely at night, I know that you, sir, have had to make difficult decisions, and this is another one you have to make.
Your people are unhinged, Waller. And on my watch, they have brought calamity and terror all over the world. You've managed to keep a lid on things by sheer force of will and bloody-mindedness, it seems. But can you imagine what would happen if the world discovered your team's actions were covert missions for the United States?
What I imagine, Mr. President, is what happens to America without Task Force X. It's a sick, nasty world, and bad things have to be done to protect the American people from things they can never know about. That the Justice League can never know about. That you can never know about.
Someone has to know, Director Waller. Someone has to represent the American people. Someone must be accountable. And it's obviously not you.
I have just the man. Sir, this is Colonel Rick Flagg, Navy SEAL. Flagg was awarded the Medal of Honor, the U.S. military's highest decoration, for his actions in Afghanistan. Purple Heart, Silver Star Medal, a natural leader, hard as a heart attack. He is one of the best we've got, sir. Unimpeachable, right over wrong every single time. Flagg comes from a soldier's family. His father served with distinction in Vietnam. His grandfather was part of the original Task Force X in World War II.
I'm aware of the heroic actions of Colonel Flagg, but I haven't heard anything for years now. Where is he?
Flagg is on a special assignment, but I can make arrangements for him to be detailed to me exclusively for the new mission. You just have to give the authorization, sir.
Approved. Goodbye, Director Waller. I sincerely hope we never meet again. You know, politicians, sadly, are sometimes forced to lie in order to protect innocent people. The real problems start when they lie to themselves. Director Waller, this Colonel Flagg. He'd better be everything you say he is.
Rick Flagg.